Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode. In this video, we will explore the case of Kanisha Nealy, a woman who ignored every relationship red flag and paid the ultimate price. Let's explore exactly what caused her demise. Please like and subscribe to our channel as we bring you more real-life stories every week. Let's start with the facts of this case. Kanisha Nealy, a 38-year-old single mother from Memphis, was the proud parent of two daughters, Ilya and Jayla. She was a successful individual, holding a degree in healthcare administration and working as a licensed bail bondsman. In 2019, Kenisha received a message on Facebook from an inmate named Sheldon Nealy, who was serving a 12-year sentence for assault with a deadly weapon. Sheldon expressed his desire to pursue a romantic relationship with her. Captivated by his attention, Kenisha chose to engage with him despite his criminal background. Their relationship developed through phone calls and prison visits, during which Kenisha even introduced her daughters to Sheldon. After two proposals, she accepted his second offer, and they were married on December 17, 2021, in a ceremony attended by her daughters and fellow inmates. Sheldon was released from prison on September 12, 2022, and Kenisha purchased a home in North Carolina for their new family. However, it soon became apparent to Kenisha that Sheldon was not the ideal husband or stepfather, exhibiting a volatile temper and a self-centered demeanor. In December 2023, he violently assaulted Kenisha in front of her children, prompting her to shoot him in the leg in self-defense. Following his arrest, Kenisha paid $3,000 to secure his release on bond, and they continued their marriage. On June 23, 2024, they welcomed a daughter named Kamari, expanding their family to 5. Tragically, on August 4th, 2024, Sheldon murdered Kenisha before taking his own life. Throughout their relationship, Kenisha frequently celebrated their love on social media, presenting it as a fairy tale, while in reality, it was a harrowing ordeal. Kanisha Nealy's funeral took place on August 13th, 2024 in North Carolina. All that's left are 3 little girls, forever scarred by the trauma of their mom's decision to marry an absolutely evil man. Stay tuned for commentary by DJ.
Hi everyone, DJ here, and I really wanted to talk about this case because this case is a good example why women should never get in a relationship with somebody who's in prison or an ex-con or anybody that's dangerous, any criminal. Let me tell you a little bit about Sheldon. This guy is 46 years old, and for most of his adult life, he's been a criminal and incarcerated. And he's been doing crimes since the mid-1990s. Crimes like robbery, parole violations, weapon offenses. I mean, the guy is just bad news. Kenisha had a degree in healthcare administration, and Sheldon had a degree in being a criminal. If you're a woman and you're listening to this podcast, let me tell you this. Do not take a chance and get into a romantic relationship with an ex-con or somebody who's actively in prison. These guys are the best con artists in the world. Imagine that Sheldon is in prison. And when you're in prison, you're in an 8x8 cell, and he's in there for 12 years. So he wants a way to get out of there. And he has access to the internet. So he goes online and he sees someone online like Kenisha, and he sees her as a target. And he contacts her and tries to manipulate her into getting into a relationship with him. And Kenisha is so naive and so stupid, she agreed to be his woman. And then immediately she's spending money on him and visiting him and thinks she's in love with a man that she don't even know. Then Kenisha goes on social media professing her love for a man she just met. I think most people on Facebook didn't even realize the man was actually in prison. When people found out he was in prison, they warned Kenisha. Her family warned her and tell her this is a bad idea. But Kenisha didn't listen to her family. She didn't listen to her friends. She continued with the facade of having some fantasy relationship with a man who was currently locked up in jail. Kenisha ignored all the obvious warning signs. I mean, even a blind person could see that this was a bad idea. But Kenisha thought that Sheldon could be rehabilitated because Sheldon was telling her all these things, that he's a changed man and he's going to be a great father and a great stepfather. And she just falls for it, hook, line, and sinker. Men that are in jail are desperate. They're looking for a way out. They want someone to send them money so they can buy food in prison, and they want women advocating on their behalf so they can get parole. And don't fall for it. What is the upside of dating a man in prison? I don't understand it. I don't understand the appeal. And I was having a conversation with someone online, and I was telling them that how there's some women who say they like the bad boy. And this person was telling me that's not true. I mean, is this person living under a rock? Everyone knows that there are some women who like bad boys. They like to date criminals and people who abuse them. They like to date men like that. And more times than not, men like that are very dangerous. They can put you in the ground. I don't understand it. But Kenisha was one of those women who think that Sheldon could have been changed and he's a different man. Let me tell you what Kenisha should have done. If Sheldon was professing his love for her, she should have told him, when you get out of jail and you spend 2 years getting your life back together, and if I see that you're a changed man, then maybe I'll date you. That's what she should have said. She should have never dated a man in jail. Now, Kenisha is a lady with great ambition. She has a degree in healthcare administration, and she was working as a bail bondsman, bringing in good income. She's a single mother, taking care of her kids, and the only thing that was missing from her life was a man to complete her. But Kenisha went down the wrong path to choose a man. Of all the men out here that's free and that's not criminals, Kenisha could have definitely find a man to be with her. I don't know what was going on inside her head to think that marrying a criminal was a good idea. First, let me say, never get involved with somebody who's actively in prison. But if you want to get involved with an ex-con, let me tell you something. Make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. First thing, you have to do a background check. It doesn't matter if the guy is an ex-con or not. Make sure you get a background check. A background check is not expensive. I thought it was expensive, and I'm sure most people think that's expensive. There's some that's as low as $5. You can get it for $50. There's some for 10 to 20, 25 to up to $100. It's not expensive. Trust me. You spend this small amount of money and it can save your life in the long run. So no matter who you're dating, get a background check. When you go on a first date with somebody, you get their information. Don't get sexually involved with them. You take their information, you go on social media, you plug it in, and you find out the type of person they are. Check the post that they posted. Make sure they're not already in a relationship. And if you decide that you want to go on a second date with this person, get a background check. Go online and pay the money and get a background check. Now, if you're trying to date an ex-con, let me tell you the type of ex-cons you should avoid like a plague. If you was charged for robbery, assault, illegal weapons, stalking, abuse, kidnapping, rape, and obviously murder. These are the type of men you have to avoid like a plague. Do not put yourself in harm's way because of a way a man looks, because he tells you you're beautiful, because he's a smooth talker. Don't even think about it. If he looks like your dream guy, he gets 12-pack abs and he's tall and he's handsome, ignore him. It's bad news. You're not only putting yourself in harm's way, you're putting your family in harm's way, because I know you're bringing him home. And if you have kids, innocent kids, you're putting them in harm's way. And that's what Kenisha did. Kenisha had 2 girl kids, and she took those kids to prison to meet Sheldon. She took her girl kids. You imagine the kind of example that she is setting for those kids. When they grow up, she's telling them it's okay to marry a man who's actively in prison. She's making this normal for these kids. Sheldon was running a long con on Kenisha. I believe she knew what was happening. At some point, she knew. She had a degree in healthcare administration. She wasn't a stupid lady. She had to know that this guy was no good. But she was trying to force a family together. She's trying to force love. That's what she was trying to do. It's like a Lego. She's trying to put the Legos together that don't fit. If it don't fit, it don't fit. And being with a criminal does not fit. Marrying a man in prison doesn't fit. Putting your young kids in jeopardy does not fit. So Kenisha is all excited and bubbly, and she's on Facebook. She's arguing with people. She's telling them to stay out of her business, and she knows what she's doing. And she's saying that they're jealous. Who's going to be jealous of a woman dating a man in prison? What's to be jealous about, really? The man has nothing. He's at the bottom of the barrel, and when he comes out of jail, he's an ex-con, so he's going to have a hard time getting a job. He's been a criminal for most of his adult life, so he doesn't know anything else but being a criminal. Who's going to get jealous of a man like that? This lady was just totally delusional. When she took those kids to prison to meet a man that's not their father, the state should have then go and take those kids away. Because if she want to put herself in harm's way, she can do that. She's an adult. But the kids should not be subject to the same thing. The kids should have been protected. And thankfully, these kids were not harmed in the end. At least not harmed physically. But I'm telling you, emotionally, these kids are scarred for life. There's never going to be a normalcy for any of them because they witnessed Kenisha being abused by Sheldon. So in December of 2023, Sheldon beat up Kenisha badly. He had her in the bedroom and he had the door locked and the kids were there. They saw everything and he was beating up on her. Thankfully for her, she had a gun. Because if she didn't have a gun that day, she would have been dead. She pulled the gun and she shot him in the leg. She should have shot him someplace else, but she shot him in the leg. I guess she still didn't want to hurt him. So she shot him once in the leg, and then she called the cops. The cops came and took him away. Now, Kenisha had a way out. She could have left him in jail, filed for divorce, sell the house, and move. Kenisha decided a couple of days after that incident to go and pay $3,000 to bail out Sheldon. You know what she just did? She just put the nail in her own coffin. That's what she did when she went and paid that $3,000. I believe that Kenisha was trying to salvage that marriage. Kenisha didn't want people to know that her relationship was a disaster. And she didn't want them to say, I told you so. So Kenisha went, bailed him out, and pretend nothing ever happened. Then she went back online and continued praising the man who almost killed her a couple of days ago. Right after that, Kenisha was trying to get pregnant. So she was posting a lot of stuff about getting pregnant on Facebook. She wanted to have a child with a man who almost killed her a couple of days ago. Now, if you read Kenisha's posts on Facebook, you would not believe the turmoil that was going on in that house. You would think it was marital bliss when it was a total opposite. Kenisha finally got pregnant, but then she had a miscarriage. She got pregnant a second time, and she had a high-risk pregnancy, and she had a baby for Sheldon. And 2 months after welcoming a baby into the world, Sheldon killed her. A lot of women who are abused never had the options that Kenisha had to get away from someone. Kenisha had every opportunity to leave, every opportunity to not even get into that relationship, and she chose the wrong path every time. I don't know what it was about this lady, but she was incredibly stupid. This is beyond any victim that I've ever seen, and I've been watching cases for the past 25 years. I've never seen a victim put himself in so many bad situations. Never. She not only put herself in a bad situation, she put her kids in harm's way. They could have easily been killed. So Sheldon said everything possible to get Kenisha to fall into his trap. And she did exactly that. And when Sheldon came out of jail and they started living together, Kenisha soon realized Sheldon was full of shit. She realized he was not the man he was pretending to be. But instead of trying to get out of that relationship, Kenisha, she dug herself deeper in. She was trying to turn a frog into a prince. She thought they were going to be a power couple. I don't know how an ex-con and a bail bondsman could turn into a power couple, but that's what Kenisha thought. Most of Kenisha's social media posts portrayed a loving, successful marriage, and that was not the truth. There's a lot of people on social media, I would say 90-something% of them, they're just lying. They're just posting lies on social media to make themselves look good and to get likes. It's a big trend right now. That's what everybody's doing. Let me tell you something about human behavior. Everyone has the ability to change, but you cannot force anyone to change who they are. Real change comes from within, not from just saying the right things on the surface. So Sheldon was saying all the right things on the surface to Kenisha, but Kenisha didn't know that words are just words. You need actions to back that up. She somehow didn't realize that a man in prison had zero interest in actually changing his toxic and criminal ways. I hope Kenisha's story is a lesson to learn for many women out there. Do not ignore the red flags. Do not be desperate to be with a man. Kenisha had everything going good for her until she decided to date a man in prison. The sky was the limit for her. Yes, she was a single mother with 2 kids, but she had a good job. She had a go-getter attitude. I'm 100% sure she could have found someone that was better than Sheldon. She didn't listen to her friends. She didn't listen to her family. She ignored the red flags. And now that culminated in her being murdered. Her life cut short. She was only 38 years of age. And she had 3 beautiful kids. Now those kids are going to be orphans. They're never going to grow up with a mother. The youngest one is never going to grow up with a father or a mother. And they're going to go through their life in sadness because their mother made mistake after mistake after mistake. All in the name of being with a man. If you're a woman and you're listening to this podcast, never put a man in front of your kids. Never do that. And if you're a man, never put a woman in front of your kids. Your kids should come first and everybody else after. I don't know what was going through Kenisha's head, but guys like Sheldon, who spend most of their life committing crimes and most of their life behind bars, are not the kind of men that's going to change, because that's the only life that they know. Don't take a chance with your life on these type of men. Don't believe they're pleased that they change and they want a different life for themselves. It's all a con. The government should never allow inmates to be online on social media. They shouldn't allow them to date. If you're in prison, prison should be hard. They should get the bare minimum to eat for them to survive, and they should have some teachers in there that they can learn something, so when they come out, they can be a better citizen. There shouldn't be television and radio and exercise machine. If they want to exercise, they can do push-ups. That's it. There shouldn't be basketball courts and all this other stuff. None of that should be there. There should be the 8x8 cell, food, and school. That's it. Prisons shouldn't be a place where people get comfortable. You either learn, get your GED, you come out, you be a better person, or you don't learn and you just suffer in prison. That's it. The fact that Sheldon could have contacted Kenisha while he was in prison is a travesty. That should never happen. Kenisha was a bail bondsman, so she's been around bad people. She knows people who skip bail and she knows how dangerous they are. Yet, she still went ahead and got with Sheldon, which led to her demise. I hope this is a lesson to everyone out there who thinks it's a good idea to date a man in prison. If you know someone who's in the same situation as Kenisha, plead with them about why it's a bad idea. Send them the story about Kenisha. Maybe that will stop them. Send them the domestic violence hotline. Have an intervention. Do something to stop somebody who's on the same path that Kenisha was on. Frankly, I don't think there's anything anyone could have said or done to stop Kenisha from going down that path, because her family did try, her friends did try, and she just ignored them. She just thought they were being envious of her. That's it for this episode. Let me know what you think about this case in the comments. Just remember that I read all the comments and I respond to every comment. I want to thank all my subscribers for supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.